This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. The Manitoba First Nation is bracing for a flood that could rival one of the biggest they've ever had. The province says the Fisher River could reach levels that devastated Peguis in 2022. The Premier says help is on the way for the flood-prone community, but leaders say a more permanent solution is needed. The CBC's Mike Arsenault has more.
A community surrounded by water. Cars and trucks driving down submerged roads. This was the flood that washed over Peguis First Nation in 2022. Now, Chief Stan Bird said a similar flood could be on the horizon.
The 2022 flood, as we are aware, was catastrophic. It caused severe and widespread damage to our community.
The province says there's a high risk of flooding in the Interlake region in the coming days and weeks. Ian Halcutt is a hydrologist and advisor to Peguis. He says the flood in 2022 was considered a 1 in 200 year flood. And just 4 years later, it looks like it's happening again.
The snowpack out there is very, it's almost it's just above 2022 level. So there's a lot of water in the Fisher River watershed right now that hasn't melted.
The 2022 flood triggered states of emergency and displaced more than 1,000 people. Premier Wab Kinew says wheels are already in motion to help Peguis with flood prep. He says the province is advancing $1 million to the community to help cover the costs of resources and support.
We, through our Manitoba Transportation and Infrastructure, have moved about 200,000 sandbags to Peguis so far, with the expectation that we need to get to 1 million or 2 in the community.
Kinew says he put in a request for the military. He also worked with Indigenous Services Canada to send a company to assess what's needed in terms of flood protection. Bird is glad the province is helping with flood prep in the short term, but says a permanent solution is desperately needed in the future.
You know, we shouldn't have to experience this, plan this year in and year out. Our people's lives are put on hold, so it's permanent flood mitigation. We need a solution.
Kinew says he's in talks with the community about a long-term solution. Halcutt says the longer spring is delayed, the more likely the sudden melt will cause a flood. Mike Arsenault, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, from water to fire, preparations for wildfire season are also well underway in Manitoba. It comes after last year's worst wildfire season in 30 years. And as the CBC's Eric Westhaver reports, community leaders in northern Manitoba say they want to be ready this time around.
Many northerners remember May 28th. Thousands had to flee their homes that day due to fast-moving fires. One year Flin Flon almost hit the town, but fire crews held it back. Many had to leave, including Mayor George Fontaine.
The feeling is one of helplessness from the outside because all I can do is gather information and transfer it as best I can.
Summer forecasts show dry weather and possible fire risk. Across the north, it's planning time. People in Snow Lake had to leave twice last year. After almost 2 months of battle, the fire was kept away. Mayor Ron Scott said they're buying hoses, sprinklers, and pumps and building a new fire guard south of town.
We're looking at the possibility of fires coming at us from the southwest, south, and southeast, where there's still quite a high fuel load.
Lynn Lake residents were forced out for months. Mayor Brandon Dulwich said some fires from last year are still smoldering deep in the muskeg.
It's scary for sure. There's a lot of forests in the north of this province that didn't burn. Speaking with some provincial officials, it sounds like quite a few of these fires are still identified burning in the ground.
Thompson never ordered an evacuation, but northern Manitoba's biggest city came close. Anthony McInnes says the city has new emergency plans and is building fire breaks.
We've always had evacuation plans, but obviously once it hits you in the face, then it becomes more real and you see where there are small gaps in your plans.
Fontaine is planning for the worst, but hoping for the best.
I'm hoping that we're lucky. We know that the conditions are every bit as bad as last year in terms of dryness and all that sort of thing. We do have a lot of forest that's gone, so that's in a way a plus, the less fuel in some ways, but we know that the danger is high.
Natural Resources Minister Ian Bushy says more firefighters and equipment will be on the way north this year, but only time will tell if it'll be enough to keep more northern forests from looking like this. Eric Westhaver, CBC News, Flin Flon.
Manitoba's trade rep to the U.S. spoke in Winnipeg today. Richard Madden expressed concern about the pace at which the Port of Churchill expansion is proceeding. The CBC's Bartley Peguis reports.
Richard Madden is Manitoba's senior trade representative.
In Winnipeg Thursday morning, Manitoba's man in Washington spoke about increased interest in the Arctic. Richard Madden expressed concern about the expansion of the Port of Churchill, a project partly funded but yet to be fully defined.
There continues to be feasibility studies or discussions but no action. That is where that could be problematic.
Madden said he's worried what will happen if a deepwater port under construction in Alaska gets finished before the Port of Churchill.
Right now in Nome, Alaska, they are building a deepwater seaport, and they're pouring billions of dollars to build this. If they have that built and operational before Churchill is fully modernized, that could be problematic.
CBC News asked Arctic Gateway, which owns the Port of Churchill, for comment. Trade Minister Jamie Moses said in the statement, the sooner the work happens, the better. Richard Madden also addressed the Canada-U.S. trade relationship. He said he agrees a new trade deal probably won't be reached before a July deadline. Madden said midterm election politics in the U.S. is getting in the way of working with some officials. He said some Republicans won't even pose for photos with him.
They say, please don't, because this is an election year and I don't want to make it look like I'm cozying up to Canadians to risk being primaried or the wrath from some people in the administration.
Madden receives $482,000 a year in consulting fees. He said he wants Manitobans to know he's working hard.
It can be very stressful when you're trying to do the best for a province, and there are issues that are out of your control that come in the way.
Madden's going to Alaska next week for an Arctic summit. Bartley Peguis, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Steinbach City Council has approved a plan to increase housing density in a residential neighborhood. Dozens of residents opposed the plan, which would see houses on one street replaced with apartment buildings. The CBC's Christopher Garreau now on why they're opposed and the reason City Council approved it anyway.
This Steinbach neighborhood is about to change, and a lot of people aren't happy about that. Steinbach City Council wants to increase housing density in Manitoba's third largest city. Councillor Damien Penner introduced a motion to approve a plan to turn 2 houses and an empty lot into 3 apartment buildings.
In all reality, we know that there is an affordability crisis right now, and the fastest way to solve that is to have more inventory.
But the location in an old residential neighborhood is a problem for people who filled council chambers to oppose the new development. Harold Kinn has lived on Mackenzie Avenue for 57 years. Locals used to call it Moscow Street for the large number of Russian Mennonites who moved to the area. He lives 2 doors down from the 48 planned apartments. Kinn led an effort that successfully stopped approval for a much smaller apartment plan in 2008.
And now, all of a sudden, it's fine. What drives it? The love of money.
In 2025, 3/4 of the new dwelling unit permits in Steinbach are multi-family units. Only 1/4 were single-family homes, which used to be predominant. Penner says there is an advantage to the shift.
With higher density, though, does also come new amenities or better amenities, and prime example is our event center. If we were the city that we were 20 years ago, there wouldn't have been a taxation base to have been able to afford a facility like that.
But homeowners insist, as the city grows, they want their way of life preserved.
It's too much. It's too big, set way back. When we're in our backyard, we'll be looking towards the east. We'll see this massive brick wall just through the trees there.
Steinbach Council unanimously approved the rezoning to allow the apartment buildings. And more proposals are on their way, including a 7-story seniors complex in another old neighborhood beside more single-family homes. Christopher Garreau, CBC News, Steinbach.
All right, time to bring in meteorologist Colette Kennedy now with a first check on our Manitoba weather forecast. And a bit warmer today, Colette, but many of us, I think, are wondering where that real spring warmth is.
Thanks, Riley. Well, we get to take a bit of a breather here behind our Alberta clipper. I thought we'd take a look at some temperatures, like maybe just any kind of warmth if you're seeking that. What have we had? Well, back on the 4th, we had our warmest day so far, 7 degrees, and I think we might just get there again tomorrow. But if we want double digits, we have to go back to November of last year. On a couple of days, we had 10 degrees, and as for some teens for daytime highs, all the way back to the beginning of November last year. But guess what? We've got some warmth coming in this weekend, and we might get back to those double digits into our afternoon hours. So I'll take you there a little bit later in the show, but let's take you through tonight and tomorrow. -2, we will get into partly cloudy to clearing skies. A little bit of variability tomorrow, but otherwise sunshine. -4 early in the day, and there it is. I am being a little optimistic with the 7 degrees, but I think we just might get there again. You could have some clouds at a few times, but otherwise it's looking good.
And I too will remain optimistic. Thank you, Colette. Still ahead for us, she has lived a simple life on a southern Manitoba farm, and her off-grid lifestyle is now the subject of a new documentary. We will give you a look at that a bit later in the show. Stay with us. Manitobans could find out in the next month if they're getting a break at the gas pump. The CBC's Ian Fraze joins us from the newsroom with more on this story now. Ian, what needs to happen for the province to do this?
The Premier says if gas prices stay high due to the war in Iran, that over the next month he may cut the provincial gas tax again. Wab Kinew says any decision hinges on the ceasefire between Iran and the United States and whether oil starts moving again through the Strait of Hormuz. He spoke with host Marcia Marcusa on CBC's Information Radio this morning.
The price of oil come down right away and then people get help at the pump, or do prices stay high for a long time, in which case we may reduce the gas tax?
Now, an economist says some individual drivers may not see a major difference, especially if gas prices keep rising, but says the effects of a gas tax cut can ripple across the economy.
Most people think about gasoline sometimes as a consumer solely, that you're driving around, but it's also an input into lots of industries. Most of the delivery systems need gasoline, so it can have a trickle-down effect.
You may recall the gas tax was cut completely in Manitoba in 2024. Right now, that gas tax stands at 12.5 cents a litre.
Now, Ian, on a different story, construction is finished on the new hospital in Portage La Prairie, but its opening is being delayed by months. What happened there?
The city's MLA calling the news devastating, Riley. Construction on the new hospital finished in January. It was supposed to open this fall, but now that opening delayed until the spring of 2027. In a memo, Southern Health says it needs more time to get operations running and train up the staff. The extra time will also allow electronic patient records to become the norm. However, Tory MLA Jeff Bariza isn't convinced by the health authorities' explanation.
The training has started. I talked to a person last night that was devastated. The scheduling has already started in the new hospital, and now that's all for naught. So again, no, I don't take that at face value one bit.
Finally, a clarification to add about our coverage of Red River College taking over courses from the Manitoba Institute for Trades and Technology. On Wednesday, I said the Network and Systems Administrator program in Morden will not continue. In fact, the program will continue under RRC Polytech, which had provided incorrect information. Riley.
All right, thank you so much, Ian. That's the CBC's Ian Fraze in our newsroom tonight. A Made in Manitoba documentary is getting critical acclaim. Agatha's Almanac follows the life of a fiercely independent woman who lives alone on her ancestral farm off the grid. The CBC's Jura McElwraith met up with the filmmaker and the woman who inspired her to make the film.
And that is the truck and the trailer.
Meet Agatha Bach. She spends her summers living on her ancestral farm without modern amenities like running water or a driver's license. She's 92. She's also the subject of a documentary gaining international attention, Agatha's Almanac.
My favorite thing at the end of the day when it's dark is to sit on the swing by the house and watch the moon. If we have a moon.
Bach bought the southern Manitoba farm with her brother after their father died. She started caring for the sizable garden. Emily Atkins is the filmmaker. She's also Bach's niece. Atkins wanted to capture the daily rhythm of her aunt's life. She says the farmstead has a particular feeling that's hard to describe.
I spent time there when I was a kid exploring, climbing trees and going down to the river.
Atkins shot the documentary on 16mm film over 6 years. She wanted to preserve the color and texture of her aunt's farm for a long time. She describes Bach as a force of nature and hopes the film inspires viewers to plant something, no matter how small.
If you have like a window and a pot, you can grow something. I think growing things is very healing.
Bach lives in Winnipeg during the winter, and health conditions have kept her off the farm for the last year. Yet, she's hopeful she can spend time in her garden this summer.
Many people have told me about 15 years already that I should quit the farm. Why am I still there? Why am I still doing this? Why can't I stay in the city? And I said, I don't want to stay in the city and watch the cars go by.
Bach says life is just a season, and we never know when that season will end.
You can have a life with joy and hope and love. But it's not always easy.
Agatha's Almanac plays at the Dave Barber Cinematheque until next Wednesday. Jura McElwraith, CBC News, Steinbach.
Well, let's take you to Winnipeg City Hall now, where Transcona Councilor Russ Wyatt made his first public comments today about facing criminal charges. Wyatt chaired the East Kildonan Transcona Community Committee meeting today, the first since police announced the sexual assault charges last month. He would not discuss the allegations, but told reporters he plans to stay in his role while the case moves through the courts.
The matter is before the courts, and I can't discuss the matter any further. I'm presumed innocent under the law, and I'm going to continue to do my job, as I always have and always will.
The mayor and several councillors have said Wyatt should step back, but under provincial law, council can't remove him unless he's convicted. Wyatt's lawyer has said he is innocent. All right, let's get a check on our forecast now with meteorologist Colette Kennedy once again. And Colette, at least it was a bit sunnier in the province today.
Thanks, Riley. Okay, earlier in the show here, I was teasing about some warmth to come, and we will get into that here in just a moment. But just taking a look at some of the temperatures from this afternoon, like 3 degrees for Winnipeg when our normal or seasonal high would be around 9. How about Brandon? We should be closer to 8, 3 degrees there. Should we pick a couple more? Flin Flon, 6 degrees would be a seasonal norm. You're half that at 3. Thompson, 4 degrees. Well, that's actually bang on. And how about Churchill at minus 16, 10 degrees below seasonal, but actually that's a little different, right? You've had some cooler air moving in. It was warmer at midnight than it has been as we've moved through the afternoon hours. So that's due to not only a trough that's crossing the province, but there's actually a cold front a little further north that's dipping in as well. Now the warm air is going to push back and it becomes somewhat stationary, but yeah, some cooler air has been dipping into the north. And there goes that trough with a little bit of flurry activity, and that's mostly all that we have with this in terms of what's happening tonight into tomorrow morning. Also, it does bring a little bit of cloud cover from time to time. Here comes that cold front up there trying to sneak in. Otherwise, there'll be a good deal of sunshine. Actually, many parts of the province where you're not under the influence of that trough once it moves east, or what's happening a little bit further north. As that does pass through, I'll get into this a little bit more, but in some of those areas there north of Grand Rapids, you may be looking at 2 to 5 centimeters of snowfall. So tomorrow morning, how about -4? All right, there'll be a wind chill, feeling like about -10. We'll put -9 on the board for you. Maybe a bit more cloud cover kind of coming in, sneaking in there on the mid-morning towards lunch hour, but it's not going to be bad because there's going to be quite a bit of sun through the day, and hoping we can get to that 7 degrees. We may clock out around 6, but I'm giving us 7. Let's be optimistic. And then I wanted to show you that chance for some double digits and the warm-up temperature we haven't seen or wouldn't have seen since last November. 12 degrees on Saturday, your forecast. Yes, some scattered showers into Sunday, and temps dip back closer to seasonal. I have to put some flurries in the forecast for Monday, but then we ride back up to 7 degrees with some sunshine for Tuesday.
The weather update is brought to you by Paul Davis Property Restoration Experts. When things go wrong, we do what's right.
Shot from our rooftop in downtown Winnipeg as we head to break here. We are back with more right after this. Overseas now, where the ceasefire in the Middle East appears to be teetering on the brink of collapse, due in part to Israel's wave of airstrikes across Lebanon. Iran says the bombardment violated the agreement, but the U.S. and Israel say Lebanon was never part of the deal to end the hostilities. And as Chris Brown reports, ending the fighting on that front in the conflict will be no easy task.
The horror and immensity of Israel's attacks hit home across Lebanon Thursday. At this Beirut hospital, bodies in bags arrived as other victims were taken away to be buried. They're all gone. My whole family is gone, says Abdulrahman Mohammed, who lost 5 family members, including a brother, a sister, and a nephew. Israel said it was targeting Iran-aligned Hezbollah militants. But especially in Beirut, the attacks flattened high-density neighborhoods that were full of families. More than 300 people were killed and over 1,000 injured, fueling growing international calls for Lebanon to be included in the ceasefire.
The ceasefire needs to include Lebanon and needs to include it now.
Israel's army has invaded southern Lebanon, displacing more than 1 million people, often destroying their homes. Its government claims it needs a buffer zone to defend northern Israel from Hezbollah attacks. But while Israel refuses a ceasefire, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced his officials will meet with the Lebanese government, likely next week, for direct talks to discuss disarming Hezbollah, which would be a first.
I think that this is certainly a positive development. It's much better than us being sitting ducks. We have a diplomatic fighting chance, whereas hoping that a military confrontation will bode well for Lebanon is a losing wager.
Lebanon's government has already officially banned Hezbollah's military activities, but disarming the militants has proven extraordinarily difficult. Lebanon's military is weak, its government is divided, and Israel's attacks have made Lebanon even more vulnerable. Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
Now, with a shaky ceasefire in place in the war with Iran, high-level negotiations are underway to stabilize the situation. And while shipping remains stalled in the Strait of Hormuz, Donald Trump's inflammatory rhetoric hasn't stopped. The CBC's Chris Reyes reports.
Vice President J.D. Vance and his Iranian counterparts are expected to be traveling to Pakistan ahead of scheduled talks on Saturday in Islamabad. Beyond that, there are few details on the high-stakes meeting, all while the traffic in the Strait of Hormuz is still at a trickle, with concerns over when it will return to normal. Iran's deputy foreign minister has said ships passing through will require Iranian approval, and safe passage may have to wait until after the U.S. withdraws from the region.
Strait of Hormuz is open, but of course, each tankers and each vessel should make necessary arrangements with the Iranian authorities to be able to securely pass the strait.
The UN has deployed a special envoy to Iran. French diplomat Jean Arnaud has been meeting with senior Iranian officials and humanitarians, visiting sites destroyed by U.S. attacks.
Acting on the Secretary General's instructions, Mr. Arnaud will continue his regional tour with several visits to the Middle East, aimed at supporting the ongoing efforts to achieve a comprehensive and durable resolution to this conflict.
Last night, President Donald Trump doubled down on having a military presence in the region until a real agreement is reached. If not, Trump wrote on Truth Social, the shooting starts bigger and better and stronger than anyone has ever seen before. Democrats are once again pushing back against that kind of rhetoric, calling on Congress to reconsider the War Powers Resolution, an act that would limit Trump from taking further military action in Iran. The resolution failed to advance last month. Democrats are now insisting on putting it back on the agenda.
When will my Republican colleagues stand up in the House, in the Senate, the Vice President, the cabinet secretaries who surround this madman? When will they grow a spine? When will they say, stop?
Democrats say they're also considering impeachment over this issue, arguing that only Congress can declare war, but their priority remains to pass the War Powers Resolution.
Chris Reyes, CBC News, New York.
Back in this country, Prime Minister Mark Carney is meeting with Liberals from across the country at a party convention in Montreal. He arrived with his newest Liberal MP and comes ahead of Monday's by-elections that could secure him a majority government. Ashley Burke has the latest from Montreal.
A big welcome at the Liberal convention for the Prime Minister, who arrived with a controversial MP. Marilyn Gladue abandoned the Conservatives yesterday to join Mark Carney's team, and it's a decision that not all Liberals are comfortable with. Gladue in the past voted against a Liberal bill banning conversion therapy. She was forced to apologize for casting doubt on the seriousness of COVID-19 and need for vaccine mandates. And when she ran for Conservative leader, said that she was open to MPs introducing bills restricting abortion. Mark Carney today defended his decision to welcome Gladue to his caucus amid questions about all of that.
To be clear, the Liberal Party always will support the rights of women to choose, always, without question. And I had discussions, and colleagues had discussions with Miss Gladue about those issues. She will vote with the government if there are votes relating to any aspect of that issue.
Some young Liberals here at this convention are waiting to decide how they feel about Gladue joining the party.
Different people have different opinions, right? So I'm trying to make my own opinion as well. Yeah, I'm not quite sure.
Our party's now kind of different with Carney, and I still believe our party does believe in those stuff, but for now we have to see how she aligns.
Dan Arnold, who has done polling for the Liberals under the Trudeau government, said that Carney is taking on an MP with more baggage than your typical Liberal MP, but that he's looking for a comfortable majority and needs all of the MPs he can get.
I think the bigger risk for him would be his government collapsing because he doesn't have enough votes to get through a vote and having to go to an election. So I think that, if anything, minimizes the risk. Yeah, she's controversial. So are some of the members of the Liberal caucus right now as well, too, though.
Two Liberal sources told CBC News the party is in conversations with as many as 9 other MPs about crossing the floor. Carney is expected to address the crowd here on Saturday ahead of Monday's 3 by-elections. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Montreal.
To Nova Scotia now, where new legislation has been passed to bring tougher penalties for those selling unregulated cannabis. The move mostly impacts Indigenous communities, who argues it fringes on their treaty rights. As Kayla Hounsell reports, the debate over that is now more heated than ever.
The inflection point after months of tension between the Nova Scotia government and Mi'kmaq communities over the sale of unregulated cannabis. Protesters blocking a highway.
Fucking guns that fucking big?
Police abandoning their vehicles after a raid on a cannabis shop on the Bodledek First Nation in Cape Breton. They arrested 2 people, including this man.
I practice my treaty rights. Number one foremost, I was born in Mi'kmaq.
The Mounties say they found their vehicles with broken windows, damaged tires, and urine-soaked interiors. The Bodledek Band Council says it does not condone these actions.
We're just having a peaceful protest. We want to be heard that, the RCMP can't just come into our community and do what they want to do.
We're not targeting anyone.
In December, Nova Scotia's Justice Minister directed police to crack down on illegal dispensaries. Late Tuesday night, the provincial government passed legislation bringing in tougher penalties. The government points to a Health Canada survey that shows Nova Scotia youth are using marijuana at higher rates than anywhere else in the country and above the national average of 23.2%. But the Mi'kmaq say selling cannabis is a treaty right.
There's been no legal precedent for that cannabis is a treaty right, so the position is that it is not a treaty right.
The government bases that on this court decision that finds how the treaties are interpreted must be based on a foundation that warrants consideration. At this time, that foundation has not been established for cannabis sales outside the lawful regime, and the existing regime applies to all Nova Scotians.
And I don't think that lower court decision is right. It's not about treating all Nova Scotians the same. It's recognizing that there are constitutionally protected rights that take priority over all other interests.
This shop has reopened, but the debate around who has a right to profit from the sale of marijuana may be just getting started. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Halifax.
A man has been sentenced to 4 years in prison for his role in a multi-million-dollar gold heist at the International Airport in Toronto in 2023. Arsalan Chaudhry was arrested 2 months ago after he flew from Dubai to Toronto. He entered a guilty plea last month. Police described the theft as the largest gold heist in Canadian history. It took place after a flight arrived from Zurich carrying gold bars worth more than $20 million and about $2.5 million in foreign currency. 7 other suspects have been arrested. Most of the stolen gold is still unaccounted for. Chaudhry's sentence also includes a restitution order that will last for 40 years. 2 iconic Antarctic species have now been added to the endangered species list. A global conservation authority says that emperor penguins and Antarctic fur seals have seen their numbers diminish significantly over the last decade. Scientists say melting sea ice and a reduction in food sources are to blame. Coming up, they have gone farther than any human has gone before. And now the 4 astronauts on board the Artemis II mission are getting ready to come home. More on that planned return when we come back. Stay with us. Well, they have traveled some 400,000 miles, seen what no living person has ever seen, and given scientists 10 days of data that will shape every future space mission. Now it's time for the astronauts on the Artemis II mission to start perhaps the most dangerous part of their journey, their trip home.
There's no question that we'll all be anxious, and but we'll be with the families. We'll be with them. We'll all be together. I have full confidence in the team. They do too.
NASA says the spacecraft will begin its re-entry to the Earth's atmosphere Friday evening just before 7 p.m. Central Time, traveling around 38,000 kilometers per hour. Its heat shield will need to withstand temperatures approaching the surface of the sun. If everything goes well, 3 parachutes will deploy and the crew module will splash down safely in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of San Diego. Recent wildfire seasons have made spring forecasting an urgent enterprise. Shelley Joyce now with a look at the efforts in British Columbia, what's being predicted so far, and why the province could still be caught off guard.
Hot and dry, 2 of the ingredients that combine to create a volatile fire season in BC. Researchers are scrambling to gather the data they need to predict what the next few months will look like. And this forest fire expert is keeping a close eye on the forecast.
Potentially scary. And the hotter we are, generally the more fire we see. The disclaimer is it will depend on the day-to-day weather and the ignitions we see during the fire season.
Ignitions like lightning, unattended campfires, and sparks from vehicles like trains or downed power lines can cause wildfire chaos. Northern BC has a robust snowpack, thanks to 2 to 3 times the normal precipitation, while southern parts saw less than half of what's considered normal. That's led to persistent drought conditions in the southern interior. But experts say it's the unknowns that make forest fire predictions nearly impossible.
What that wind speed's going to be on a given day in the middle of summer, and that's really critical for predicting fire behavior. That's really pretty much impossible to predict.
And researchers are finding climate change is making summers longer.
We found that the shoulder seasons are shrinking on either end of summer.
This researcher says BC summers are increasing by more than 6 days over a decade. In 40 years, that means a month more of summer.
Everything is drying out earlier. And when you think about forest fires, what we know is that when the trees and the foliage around them dry out, they are much more able to burn stronger, longer, hotter.
Shelley Joyce, CBC News, Kamloops.
The weather update is brought to you by Paul Davis Property Restoration Experts. When things go wrong, we do what's right.
Let's bring back meteorologist Colette Kennedy now. And Colette, spring has so far been on the cool side for much of Manitoba, but we are looking at double digits, as you mentioned, on the way here soon.
Thanks, Riley. Yeah, I thought we'd kind of look at the big picture, or at least across the West. And I was speaking last night about some of the nice conditions they've been experiencing in BC. Well, a little bit of that warmth is we're just looking at the temperature trends here, okay? So looking at the color contours, can we get some of those lighter greens? How about some yellows, oranges? All right, not quite making it all the way, but temperatures will be coming up in southern Manitoba as we move towards the weekend. So that's that bump coming up to double digits for a daytime high on Saturday. That is a big deal. Let's celebrate that. And then Sunday moderating, and temperatures kind of back closer to seasonal, but at least we'll be getting that not just in the south, but central areas as well. Active weather, or the more significant active weather, staying south of the border, but there is a trough that's moving through the province, bringing a little bit of a breezy condition closer to it, a few flurries flying, and certainly some cloud cover too. So that's got to work its way through tonight and into early tomorrow before it presses on into northwestern Ontario. The other thing here, though, is that there is a frontal boundary further north. And with that, it is bringing in the chance of getting into some snow, kind of wet snow here, Grand Rapids, Flin Flon, perhaps even the Swan Valley up towards Thompson, 2 to perhaps 4 to 5 centimeters in there as that moves through, as we take you into the weekend and Saturday morning, and then by afternoon it should be pressing on. So looking at those temperatures, I was talking about the cool down here to Dooley Lake, Churchill, minus 24 off our seasonal norms. There was some of that colder air behind the front. And then looking southward, how are we doing? Not too bad for tomorrow morning. I think it may be just a degree or two cooler than this model wants to give us, but close to that, especially as we move through the afternoon. And let's watch that warm up. I think we might capture 7 degrees, and here we're looking at 6. But see what's going on. Melita stretching towards Emerson. 3 out of 4 with double digits for daytime highs. Let's watch for that. Kira and Gruffy. Oh my goodness, this is from Vicky. They are from Vicky. Look at these cuties. Look at those faces. It's the eyes for me. I think it's always the eyes for most of us. In terms of your forecast conditions for tomorrow, you know, we'll have sun to start. I think we could have some variable cloud for a few hours in there. And then once we get past that with more sun into the afternoon, that should help us to that rather comfortable daytime high.
All right, thank you so much, Colette. And keep sending me your dog pictures, please. Hybrid work isn't just a workplace trend. After the pandemic, it became an expectation. But as more employers, including most recently Manitoba Hydro, for example, push for more time in the office, there's a growing debate around flexibility, productivity, and what the future of work should look like. Information Radio assembled an in-studio Gen Z panel to discuss where they stand on the topic. Here's part of that conversation.
When does work-life balance trump job needs?
I think it comes to productivity again. I think if a worker is not well slept, if they don't eat well enough, if they are overly stressed, if they don't have all these things, and I think everybody can relate to this, you're not as productive as you could be.
You're all going to cringe right away. Why is it an employer's responsibility, but it's the argument that'll be mounted, right?
I'd love to hear it.
To take care of somebody's sleeping and eating and work-life balance needs. Like if you have a job and you're paid for that job, you're paid to be productive, and we're all humans, and you know, obviously a good manager is going to say, you know, where you at and understand that.
Right.
But having said that, that's that blurry line, right? Or are we looking for a more caring workplace that does actually help people with
That's
this?
the shift that's happened in business over the years. Is it's a move towards the triple bottom line. So if you invest in your community can provide more money for you. There's ecological well-being, and then there's also financial well-being, so your financial bottom line. So that's the shift that we've seen in business over the years that's happened, and that is increased productivity and increased profitability, because one worker is either a cost or a profit.
I think especially after the pandemic, a lot of people had their eyes open to a world where work is not the end-all be-all, where we prioritize our health at the same time as prioritizing our employment. And I think, like, you know, even in a perfect life, you know, you could have a daycare, you could have everything set up, but today, what about when the schools are closed? What are we going to do? How many people today are struggling to move their work online? How many people are struggling to complete projects that might be due tomorrow or by end of week that, you know, having to take care of their children today is causing a big stall? Like, just having that option, I think, is something that has really been embraced, at least by my generation.
I don't know. I think there are better ways to promote a work-life balance than, say, hybrid work. I think, you know, you have something like a 4-day work week just in general. You have shorter working hours. You have just better labor laws, better wages, things that will actually promote a work-life balance. I don't think hybrid is sort of the solution to that, because I think it does have an effect on people's mental health, whether we realize it or not. They're not interacting with others in the same way. So if we're talking just from a productivity stance, I don't think hybrid work would be the solution, or work-life balance.
Right. I think it's a current state of hybrid work. I think if somebody came to you and said, hey, I can make you 2/3 more profit than you're making now, you have to accept that you're making 1/3 now. Like it's the case where you need to invest long-term in the future. But what you said with a 4-day work week is flexibility, if I'm understanding you correctly. And that's the exact same thing hybrid work does, in a sense, except it's more or less different when it comes to how you go about it. And what's the approach? It's just one is more well refined than the other.
Except Monday to Thursday, you'd have people in the office. You just have more time off, and when you're off, you're off.
Yeah, that's what I would have.
That's where your head is going.
So in office-wise, moves to hybrids have fixed schedules. So it forces people to enter the office so they're building community still, all on the same day. And then management picks the days you're off.
Would we need to have more hybrid work, do you think, if in office, sort of these lessons that you guys are talking about from your generation specifically, to care more about work-life balance, about the person, to be more flexible, were honored? Like if someone said, you know, it's a snow day, I'm going to be in 2 days later, but I'll come to the office, for example. I'm just wondering whether or not part of what's created this desire for more flexibility is because we've lost that somehow in our 9-to-5s. Victoria?
Yeah, I think definitely, like, especially in the last, 20, 30 years, I think there's been like a steady decline in quality of work, quality of employment, people's quality of life and their happiness being derived from their jobs and what they're able to do. I think, when we think about little things, like even just like having a good lunch and a good breakfast, wearing clothes that make you feel comfortable with people who have sensory needs, different things like that. There are a lot of things that, they may seem like you are looking for an excuse to work online, or, that's just not how things used to be and you're too soft now. But a lot of the times it's more so about recognizing that the way we were doing things for so long was not working for a lot of people, and it led to a lot of stress, a lot of burnout.
Well, you've probably, or maybe, heard of the proverbial brass monkey. Well, how about one in real life? Another baby animal when we come back. The lone soldier who used to stand at Portage in Maine has a new home. After more than a century at Winnipeg's iconic intersection, the statue was rededicated today at Brookside Cemetery. The First World War Memorial had been outside the former Bank of Montreal building since 1923, but was moved when the intersection reopened to pedestrians. It now stands over the cemetery's Field of Honor, where more than 10,000 veterans are buried.
Let this place and this soldier continue to stand as a quiet but powerful reminder that freedom is never free, that service demands sacrifice, and that those who gave their lives will always be remembered.
The Manitoba Métis Federation gifted the statue to the city of Winnipeg. Today's ceremony comes on the 109th anniversary of the Battle of Vimy Ridge.
Well, you know, the thing about spring is it's not doing its job if there aren't fluctuations. Temperatures up, temperatures down, up, down. If you're getting consistency, then something's unusual. So with that in mind, let's take a look at what's going on with our 5-day forecast and that nice bump up we have after 7 tomorrow, 12 degrees on Saturday, some drier conditions in there as well. Yeah, that'll be the warmest of 2026 so far. If we get there Sunday, that chance of showers. And you do notice the temperatures coming down, and with that -2 overnight Sunday into Monday, could have a few wet flurries for the early part of the day. But then we move on through into next week, and you know, the ups and downs maybe become a little more gentle, Riley.
Okay, let's hope. Thanks, Colette. All right, we're going to continue our trip around the world, showing you baby animals. You've heard about the proverbial brass monkey, maybe. Google it. Well, tonight we have a real-life golden one. Here's your Daily Lift. Oh my goodness, look at this baby golden snub-nosed monkey. It was born in a Belgian zoo, which was quite an event since the species is native to China and endangered. This isn't the first birth outside of Asia, though. A zoo in France says it had welcomed its own little one just 6 days earlier. So the monkey today, we had the camel yesterday. What about tomorrow? Maybe I'll find a poodoo deer or something, or maybe some other animal. We'll see. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow.